Hello everyone, Boone Langston here. Welcome back to Beyond the Brick. It is June 2018. We have a great looking image of the Daredevil stunt plane on the front of Blocks magazine, but let's check out what's inside. So we're just gonna dive right in here. The Meet the Team section means a little bit more to me this month because I was actually able to meet Graham, Chris, and Daniel in Denmark last month, so that's kind of cool to know those guys now when I read through these articles. Always a really colorful table of contents here. There's a couple of the items that I know I'm going to be particularly interested in, include the one here about space, and this one about minifigure photography. We'll get to those as we cruise through here. We've got some letters from readers, an entire article about the new roller coaster. I have a lot of friends who love this kind of stuff, particularly my friend Ben. He builds carnival theme park kind of setup at conventions, and he was really excited to get this. I think he built it in one day. And then article about the UCS Ywing Starfighter. I absolutely loved this build. This is an interesting article here. One of the things they point out is, you know, is it minifig scale? Is it not? We keep cruising on here. We've got the Statue of Liberty. We've got some information here about the Unikitty sets that are coming out. Really colorful, really bright, interesting. I like that this is a white brick bucket here. That'll be kind of neat to see. And then an article about bio-friendly boxes. We're just gonna keep cruising on here. And here we have the Diaries section from the Blocks staff, where they just each kind of give us some updates on what's going on with them. Graham wrote an article here that I absolutely loved about monorail. I love monorail, so this really captured my attention. We've got photographs from various LEGO catalogs of the monorail sets, particularly from the space themes here. But Graham talks a little bit about comparing it to the new roller coaster track and how it's this unique but somewhat expensive system to work with for builders who want to get a lot of the track pieces and build large creations. Interesting here. And then we've got Daniel talking about some trends that he sees that remind him of LEGO in the late 90s and the early 2000s. He seems to be a little bit nervous about where the product line is headed right now. We'll move on. We've got an article from Chris. This is so funny now that I know all of these guys. Talking about this is an article called Go Blocks Me. He's talking about brickheads here. And he does some comparing and contrasting between brickheads and the collectibles market in general. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This I absolutely love. The top 10 longest lived LEGO sets. Some of our favorites here, you know, we've talked about Joshua absolutely loves Fort Legoredo. It was his favorite set from childhood. I'm in love with the Volkswagen bus. This monorail from 1994 was one of my favorites. We've got the Black Seas Barracuda, which was what I call my all-time favorite set. So some really interesting stuff here. We've got the 10179 Millennium Falcon and a Mindstorms EV3. So these are all sets that lived on the shelves for a very long time. They were very successful in their first run, and they tend to be widely beloved among fans today. Let's keep trucking along here. We get into the reviews. So like I said, the Daredevil stunt plane is on the cover of this magazine. It says, it's a boat, it's a car, it's a plane. I really want this set. In fact, I might go buy it today. I'm not kidding. I've like put it in my cart at the store over and over again, thinking like, oh, am I gonna buy this set? Am I gonna buy this set? And I haven't had like a really compelling reason to, but I think maybe reading this article 90 out of 100 and seeing these pictures and seeing the cover of the magazine, this has put me over the edge. I'm going to get this set. As usual, we've got a bunch of other reviews here in the center of the magazine. I like this spread. I don't know why, just these are sets that I've built, and it's just kind of a cool thing that, you know, there's something about when you see pictures of sets that you built, or when you get to experience in some new way a set that you've built versus a set that you haven't built. There's just a clear tie to nostalgia when it comes to LEGO sets and the ones you've experienced through building and the difference between the ones you haven't. Here we got an article about a guy and a gal who sort of found romance in their love for LEGO, and a bunch of little vignettes that represent their relationship. And then we get into this section called Welcome to the Jungle, where we've got the Blocks team working with the Jungle Explorers theme, but exploring some, you know, interesting custom builds for the terrain. And there's some really interesting stuff in here, including some instructions on how you might build a tree. This one's really cool. This also shows how they built this sort of V-shaped convergence between two platforms that represents a river here in the middle of a jungle with a downed plane. That's neat. Here we've got sort of a tent site with instructions on how to build the dome tents, as well as one of the little rovers that they built. Oh, okay, so this was one of the articles that I definitely wanted to focus on. It's got some information about adding some realism and some character to your minifigure photography. So you see these figures aren't just all standing parallel to each other, but one's a little bit this way, one's a little bit this way. They've got some emotion going on here. And they show you some unique ways that you can achieve these types of methods in your minifigure photography. Getting fairly close to the end here, and this is an article that definitely caught my attention. When I was a kid, space was my all-time favorite theme. I had a bunch of space stuff from right up at the end of classic space and into the mid-90s. This was the stuff I loved. And so seeing this here, I remember having catalogs. You've probably heard me say it in videos before that I had catalogs from Classic Space, and I would sit and I would mark off and check mark and circle the ones that I wanted, and I was always so bummed that they weren't in stores anymore. But then, you know, getting into like the Black Tron, the M-Tron, the Ice Planet, this was the stuff that really represented my childhood and was where I was putting most of my energy in building my childhood Lego collection. And so this is all part of, you know, sort of this process that Blocks is going through of building this family tree from the original 3 themes: space, castle, and town. And so we've had an article on castle, we've had this article on space, and it looks like we probably can look forward to an article on the family tree of town in the future. And then we've got an ideas showcase. I absolutely love this school bus. Of the 3 things that are on this page, you know, we've got this aquarium and a grand piano. I think the school bus is beautiful. These pages have a Q&A with the builder, and I definitely think I would support this school bus on Lego Ideas. Cruising right along, we've got some stuff about the largest Lego users group in Ireland. I love this 3-wheeled car here. We've got Mod Squad versus the Millennium Falcon Part 5. This is the 5th month that we've seen, you know, some customizations that you can make to your giant UCS Millennium Falcon, and they always do a great job here showing exactly how you can do that. We have an article here about building characters out of Lego. A couple of instructions here for a Roman soldier and Velma from Scooby-Doo. I immediately knew this was Velma the moment I saw her in the magazine here. So they're definitely doing a great job with this. We've got a girl lounging on a beach rock here. It's almost, she could be a mermaid if she didn't have legs. Here we have more mock Q&A, The Legend of Zelda. This is a really neat little build here. And then more mocks. I love the mocks every month. Probably my favorite on this page. Well, I love the classic space, but this may be a little busy to me. I do love this Shadow Interceptor. This is a neat little build. And this Clementine is a really interesting combination of a wide variety of parts to build a little girl with a dress and a parasol here. And yet another set of instructions for building this cute little penguin on the Mocs page. Here, last bit of information about Mocs. In this edition of Blocks magazine, we have the Rundale Bren Pier. This was inspired by the role-playing game Shadowrun, and they've done a fantastic job sort of pointing out a lot of the techniques and interesting things about this build. Page on events that are coming up. A little bit here about insuring your collection with collectible insurance. We got the Blocks Brictionary. Always fun to learn about the terms that are unique to the Lego building industry. And then we've just got here the very end. Looks like the Ywing coming on the cover of next month's Blocks magazine. So that's Blocks magazine for June 2018. If you want to know more about this magazine, check out www.blocksmag.com. And if you want to see great videos about Lego every single day, please subscribe to Beyond the Brick here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.